I've had her. You are now tuned in to the Chop Shop. I'm Retro. Let's get it. We in the Chop Shop. We live in the Chop Shop. We talking sports talk. We live in the Chop Shop. We in the Chop Shop. I'm talking sports talk. So turn your dials up. It's live in the Chop Shop. We in the Chop Shop. We live in the Chop Shop. We talking sports talk. We live in the Chop Shop. We in the Chop Shop. I'm talking sports talk. So turn your dials up, it's live in the Chop Shop. Yeah, it's lit in the Chop Shop. Turn your dials up in the drop top. They ain't based in debate, but they keep it fact straight. Going 30 for 30, let's do a first take on Facebook Live from 12 to 2. Rob Hatter and Jim Hicks going back and forth like Carter Ray and Skip Bayless and Stephen Smith. From on the court, off the court, straight to the field. Not a man that steals, but I made it steal to the octagon where I fight to kill. We go face to face, then you write your will. I don't play tennis, but I bring the racket. I'm on the floor, I attack the basket, put you in the casket when I'm overlapping. Never showing mercy, cause I'm always snapping. Never showing mercy when I'm in the arena. Step into the ring, he hit me as I beat him. Step into the court, I'm never backing down. Killing competition, I'm smacking down. Let me get back to the other stuff at the Chop Shop, cause they cutting up. It's Retro coming to you live to the Chop Shop. Now let's turn it up. Yeah, we in the Chop Shop, man. Shout out to Jim Hicks and Rob Hatter. You can catch the Chop Shop live from 12 to 2 on Facebook Live. Let's get it. We in the Chop Shop. We live in the Chop Shop. We talking sports talk. We live in the Chop Shop. We in the Chop Shop. I'm talking sports talk. So turn your dials up. It's live in the Chop Shop. We in the Chop Shop. We live in the Chop Shop. We talking sports talk. We live in the Chop Shop. We in the Chop Shop. I'm talking sports talk. So turn your dials up. It's live in the Chop Shop.
H-Town! What's up? You know what time it is. It's time for the best 120 minutes of your day. The Chop Shop, the nation's #1 urban sports talk show, and also your midday sports happy hour. Yours truly, Robert Hatter, alongside Jim the Chief Sheet Hicks, coming to you live from Houston, Texas on MLK Day, one of my favorite days in the on the calendar. You know, y'all got to understand, I got a strong affinity for MLK. I happen to be from Memphis, Tennessee, and that's where the place he was assassinated. You know, I'm studying my history. I've studied my history a lot more now than I did when I was a little younger. I just didn't have nobody teaching me about this. I went to predominantly white schools when I grew up. You know, went to University of Memphis, and it was a little different color too. But last night we're gonna get to Martin Luther King, but the Super Bowl is set, Jimmy. Super Bowl live, Jimmy. The L, then the I. I mean the L, then the I, then the V. Super Bowl, what's that? 54, and it's set. Mahomes the Chiefs and Mahomes. That was their first Super Bowl in 50 years. So we'll talk about that later, Jimmy. Remind me, because I want to talk about Lamar Hunt. That's who the Lamar Hunt Trophy is, the AFC champion, and it came back home to rest with the Kansas City Chiefs. But hey, y'all, we're celebrating the life today and the legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King. And January the 15th, 1929, the world was graced with the presence and birth of such an amazing individual. He changed our lives. He changed our culture. He changed our thought process, and he ultimately changed the world. So throughout this day, throughout this Chop Shop, it's going to be little tidbits we can't forget. Yeah, we're going to talk about sports, but we can't forget the magnificent man that Martin Luther King was. But Jimmy, what you got, baby? What you got?
Man, we go straight into yesterday's recaps of the postseason. NFL first game, the Chiefs does it again. They come from 10 points or more down, and definitely not to overshadow the defensive effort from the Kansas City Chiefs. Because Patrick Mahomes did what Patrick Mahomes has been growing accustomed to do in front of the general public. 294 yards, 23 from 35 passing, 3 touchdowns, I think 57 yards rushing. Just came through. And once again, the energy that you see this young man just relaying through his teammates. But that defense for the Chiefs, they were marvelous at containing Henry from the Titans to 69 yards rushing on 19 carries. Remember now.
Ain't that the guy everybody was bragging about all week?
I mean, that's absolutely, and rightfully so. He deserved it. He deserved it. You understand?
Jimmy, there's no such thing as a bad game in a big game.
Ain't no such thing as a bad game in a big game. Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely. So that means there's no such thing. That means if you want to look at it and accuse there and place the weight of the loss from the Titans, who were underdogs to begin with, and place it on Henry, then so be it. But that's Tannehill. He did exactly about what you thought Tannehill could do. He didn't throw any interceptions, no picks. But however, and remember, when a team runs out to a lead like that in football, as the Texans did the week before and the Titans did this week against the Chiefs, basically what you saw was the scouting report being maximized in favor of that team. However, those guys that sit up in the box at those NFL games, those assistant coaches with the binoculars, sitting way up top, looking down, it's a reason why they have 4 or 5 of them up there for each on defense and offense. Their job is to find ways for their bosses to relay down to his boss to go and make adjustments.
Every team got that. Every team got that. But
every team
got somebody up in the box.
No. I'm saying every team has that. Yes. What I'm saying to you is every team doesn't have the collaboration to be able to ad-lib, find an error, repair the error in such a manner to where the players can go and execute. What they did, they found ways to make adjustments. What you do is everything from the play to the defensive schemes.
Who you saying found a way to make adjustments?
The Kansas City Chiefs and their staff. They found ways to go and make adjustments. Now the players who have to execute, but those coaches are responsible on both sides. Unless you have a quarterback.
What profound adjustment they made in your book?
What profound? I have no damn clue on football.
Okay.
I'm telling you in general, when you see what happens and then you watching games understand. During the game.
It's been too much Mahomes.
No, Hatter. Mahomes don't play defense. They held this dude to 69 yards rushing, and he was the most devastating running back in the NFL over the past couple of months. Okay. Ain't no doubt about it.
Let me help you out. You remember the playoffs last year when they lost to Tom Brady? Do you remember? Kansas City Chiefs lost to Tom Brady last year in this same game. Just follow me. If you don't remember, okay. Follow me. Frank Clark jumped off sides and gave Tom Brady another chance, a crack at it, cost him the game.
That's number 91.
No, 55. Frank Clark, he's so unique because usually during a big game like this, you shouldn't talk. But Frank Clark talked all week, talking a lot of junk, saying that Derrick Henry ain't special. We just had to hit him. And guess what? Frank came through. He shot the gap several times and met Derrick Henry. Ended up with the sack on Tannehill at the end of the game. And Jimmy, this is what I like about Frank. The man sat there and action. Let me give you some background on Frank. Frank was homeless parts of his life. He lived in the ghetto. He battled, and people talked about him all week because he did that, right? So after the game, he had one of the greatest on-field post-game interviews that I've seen in a long time.
And that's 2 games each game, 70 yards, over 200 yards each game. I know damn well we wasn't going to win the game if we let that happen. They come in here, he ran for 70 yards. They call him the best rusher in the league. We sit in this home early.
I posted the comments that you said to me, and all over social media, everybody said you better watch your back, that you're saying things that you can't cash.
Ooh.
Everybody on social media saying.
They must not know who I am yet. They going to find out sooner or later when I got that ring on my finger. At the end of the day, we champions. AFC. That trophy that got my own the last name on it, that the KC. That KC. Ain't no fall off. Last year, jump off sides, all that. I told him when I got here, the was no change. Look at the we the best world.
Go Joy.
Number 55, that's the Frank Clark I'm telling you about. That's the kid that jumped off sides last year. And he said I told him when I came here, I was gonna change the culture. And when he jumped off sides last year, they chopped him up. You don't follow this. They chopped that kid up for a whole year. And now that kid's going to the Super Bowl. His emotion was so genuine. And he talked a lot of smack all week. That's the point. So you talking about adjustments? Well, guess what? Frank made the adjustments. I don't know about the coaches up there, but Frank helped them make the adjustments. And I was so proud of that young man.
No, I mean, absolutely. And that's once again, adjustments, that's part of every game, no matter in every sport, especially when you have a sport that involves a halftime or intermission or something like that. They made adjustments. Remember that first drive, Henry rolled right through the end zone, right up in there. It was typical Henry. But then and so I just got to give credit where it's due. Of course, the Chiefs. And guess what, guys? You guys, unless you are, especially those of you who reside in Houston, Texas, there's no Al McNair. Ain't coming through that door no time soon. Rest in peace. Vincent Young ain't about to suit back up and snap back up. Ryan Tannehill, of course, Texas A&M ties. But you really didn't want to see the Titans in the Super Bowl. Come on now.
I didn't. No. I mean, I did.
So let's not joke around with this.
And it's from my home state, but that ain't got nothing to do with it, though.
No. But in watching the Super Bowl, your last NFL game of the season, you did not want this game to rest up on the shoulders of this team that had been running through the postseason. We're talking about the Titans, and just old-fashioned way. You like it, but that wasn't. So the team that had the most speed, the team that won, was a team that America needed to win.
But Jimmy, that don't work that way all the time. Because a lot of people didn't want to see Baltimore in there. A lot of people didn't want to see a lot of people in there, man.
I said America. I say America needed the Chiefs to win, Hatter. America needed this. We got a black quarterback in the Super Bowl.
But
again.
Jimmy, tread lightly. I saw a post yesterday where, I don't know if you saw it, and I went and studied a little bit, where Patrick Mahomes kind of was sympathetic to George Zimmerman. And they was and I got it somewhere in my notes. And a lot of people was tearing his head off on social media this weekend. Just talking about, to me though, I'm thinking of him just a kid from Texas Tech to the MVP to the Super Bowl, and now he has a chance to become the first quarterback in NFL history to win a Super Bowl and an NFL MVP before the age 25. But I saw some Jimmy, I think it's what's his name? Tyrone Irvin sent it to me, and he was just talking about. It said Chief quarterback Patrick Mahomes is under fire for defending Zimmerman. That's how you have to watch them old tweets. This was a tweet in 2013. Okay, about what 7 years ago, and he had a tweet about what he said. He said this case was absolute horrible tragedy. However, there was no criminal activity that occurred. This was Mahomes responding, to the by writing. He said no one knows what actually happened, which is why he was not guilty, but a crime could have occurred. This kid tweeted this back, I guess 20. When he was, I don't know how old is he. How old is he now? 21, 22?
24.
24. So he tweeted this a long time ago. See, that's why you have to watch, young men, what you tweet. Because it's a firestorm in social media about him tweeting that. And then they went on. Yeah, he got to have, he white. He got to be black, have white, but he got a white girlfriend. Oh, they went on and on. So when you mention a black quarterback, the black quarterback's been in the Super Bowl and before. So, but you mentioned we needed a black. America needed it. I don't think we needed it. I don't think we needed it because guess what? It's more white quarterbacks than black quarterbacks. So it's a chance. That it'd be 2 white quarterbacks in the Super Bowl more. That's all.
Okay, let me flip this for you. The Kansas City Chiefs, their offensive coordinator is Eric Bieniemy. America needed Eric Bieniemy to be in the Super Bowl then. So if you want to take the other side, they needed him. And the defensive coordinator for the 49ers is a black. They needed that because those two guys.
He's not black.
Eric Bieniemy is black, so we stop with him then. Eric Bieniemy is the America needed Eric Bieniemy to advance because that pushes the narrative how he was snubbed for one of the 4 open NFL head coaching jobs this season. So if nothing else, if you want to take the other side, take that side. But we know.
My thing is to give you information.
No. But what I'm saying is the other side, I meant by the other side, meaning that Eric Bieniemy, we know damn well he ain't mixed. So that's what I meant by taking the other side. So root for, and then Eric Bieniemy has Houston ties. His brother,
Troy,
is the father of the Bieniemy kid who played for Katie Tompkins, led them to the state tournament, right? And then also starts at Oklahoma in the Big 12. So Troy, and also you might see his name in the Boom Boom Room. He's an avid viewer of the Chop Shop. So it's kind of like that's a connection. Now, mention, of course, Odyssey, thanks for reminding me. And Sandra reminded me last night. She even reminded me. She was like, the kid from the 49ers is from North Shore High School, Earl Mitchell. He came out of North Shore High School back in like 2011, I want to say, something like that, maybe 2010 when he went in the league. But he came out of North Shore High School, and he's been a journeyman in the NFL, but he's on the right side of politics this year. I think he's with the Seahawks, I think, last year. So those things, and I'm quite sure those aren't the only 2 people with Houston ties on each of those teams. But it's good, you find things to root for in this. I'm just glad.
And I'm going through, and I'm going to give you another reason to root for him. And I'm going through their coaching staff. And, I've been going through coaching staff. I was texting you some stuff last night. Let me tell you something. The Chief is well represented in the African American. I'm not talking about minorities. You got Greg Cabin. He's Carbon. He is the assistant strength and conditioning coach. You got the assistant special team coach is Rod Wilson. You got the defense quality control coach, Terry Braden. You got the defensive back coach, David Merritt. You got the defensive backs and the cornerbacks, Sam Madison, who used to play in the league. Hold up, keep going. You got Greg Lewis, the wide receiver coach. All these African-American coaches on Andy Reid's staff. The running back coach, Delano McCullough. Let me keep going. And Eric Bieniemy is at the top of the list, offensive coordinator. So guess what? They are real. So yes, America, a black America, you're saying could cheer for the Kansas City Chiefs. So.
Oh, absolutely. And so we're just looking for, and of course, Vegas is another thing about this game. The money is going to be laid heavy. I'm expecting this game to be one of the most bet on Super Bowls for even money across on both sides in a long time. This game right here is definitely, the line opened at 1.5 points in favor of the Chiefs. The over and under open, I think it was like it opened at 51. Now it's at 52.5 for the over and under. And teams that are favored by 3 points or less in the Super Bowl, it's pretty much even. They're 8-7. So that's a tough, but of course, Super Bowl is one of those things. Don't forget, Jay-Z will be thrust back into the limelight because remember, he's overseeing the Super Bowl, the halftime festivities, among other things surrounding the Super Bowl. But J-Lo, Shakira, so you can expect that to be critiqued heavily on both sides. But this thing here is in Miami, Florida, right? And it should be great weather. 2 weeks from now, it should be one hell of a scene. We're hoping for a good game, a sea of red. Both the primary color for both of these teams is red. So it should be a definite sea of red. And that's on in 2 weeks, the Super Bowl. The Pro Bowl will be this coming weekend. And, it's funny because a lot of players that were expected to miss the Pro Bowl, I don't know if they're still playing or not, but let's move to the second game from yesterday, the NFC Championship. Howard, was you surprised at how easily the San Francisco 49ers manhandled the Green Bay Packers?
No, I was not. I know it was not. Green Bay Packers, you got to understand, I think they had a 9-7 record, if I'm not sure. But, it was so unique about that game, Jim. This man, Garoppolo, didn't throw the ball but 8 times.
6 for 8.
In one.
77 yards.
Going to the point star, Jimmy, Green Bay just wasn't good enough. That's why I hate they beat my boy. I hate they beat Russell Wilson. I hate that. I would have rather Russell Wilson went up against his team again than Green Bay. I just didn't think Green Bay had. And you know what? Those 2 fumbles that Aaron Rodgers fumbled in the strip sack, man, he just act like I don't know. I didn't like the way he played. I just didn't like the way he played in that game. And I'm not surprised. By the way, I'm not surprised.
Once again, the defense for the 49ers stepped all the way up against the run. They held Green Bay to 62 yards rushing in a money game. And you compare it to the Chiefs front line and they stepped up against the Titans. This is the type of performance that you will see. And I noticed you see the little joust and little beef on social media with what's my guy name who went to Stanford, the cornerback for the 49ers. What's his name, Adam?
Richard Sherman.
Richard Sherman.
And my man Reeves Island. Darrelle Reeves. Darrelle
Reeves. And they went back and forth on social media. In case you guys missed that was something to see. But them trading shots, at each other, but in a gentleman's way. They kept it below. And that's the good thing about talking good smack. Nobody really went below the belt in exchanging their pleasures for funness for each other's game. And but Richard Sherman,
you know what I like?
What's that?
This young cat, Raheem Mostert.
Talking about the running back?
Yeah. He had quite an NFL journey, Jimmy.
Then he went to Purdue, didn't he? Did he come out of Purdue?
I'm gonna give you a little bit. He went undrafted in 2015, right? He was cut by 6 teams, Jimmy. Been on 7 teams in 5 years. Last night, he was the only player in NFL history with 200 plus rushing yards and 4 plus rushing touchdowns in a playoff game. This dude was cut by 6 different teams, Jimmy. 6 different teams. Hold up, I think I got the list. The Eagles cut him, the Dolphins cut him, the Ravens cut him, the Browns cut him, the Jets cut him, the Bears cut him. And then he finally landed with the 49ers. That's a heck of a story right there. But Jimmy, what you said about adjustments? Just wonder what Andy Reid and them gonna dial up for him. What Frank Clark, hold up. If Frank Clark said that about what's the other kid? Derrick Henry, can you imagine what he gonna say about this guy? You gotta remember, the Super Bowl got 2 weeks of hype. And they gonna ask these guys all kind of crazy questions. Man, I can't wait the Super Bowl. I can't wait. I can't wait. This is going to be a pretty good Super Bowl, Jimmy. West Coast versus, the Midwest. I was going to say the West Coast versus the East West. But, Jimmy, in this Super Bowl, it's a unique thing about Lamar Hunt. I don't know if y'all heard the interview. The young man said, this trophy that we won today, this is my owner's name on that trophy. That was Frank said. But let me give people a little bit of history about Lamar Hunt and who he actually was. AFC teams probably wouldn't. The AFC teams probably wouldn't have existed if it wasn't for Lamar Hunt, Jimmy. Hunt started the AFL. It used to be the NFL used to, the AFL. It had its league of its own in the beginning. You would never believe how it got started. Let me help y'all out. In 1959, the NFL was a successful 12-team league in 59. Not quite the sports giant as it become now, but it was a 12-team league. Enter Lamar Hunt. Check this out, y'all. He was 26 years old. All rich, passionate about the game, right? Lamar wanted to put an expansion team in his hometown. Guess where he's from, Jimmy? Dallas. So he met with Commissioner Bert Bell to make his pitch to get a team. Bert said no. So guess what he is? He's not a quitter. He get on a jet, Jimmy, and go to Florida to see the owners of the Chicago Cardinals about buying their team and moving them to Dallas. Guess what? No deal. So guess what? But they did tell him something that sparked his interest. The Cardinals told him they had already received other bids from somebody in Texas, somebody in Minneapolis, somebody in Denver, trying to buy their team. And they wanted to move the teams to their city. So guess what Lamar did on his flight home? He started thinking and the light bulb went in. He said, well, okay, let's join up with them guys who got rejected. And they got together, Jimmy, and started a new league. And, now you got the Kansas City Chiefs. But that's how this stuff started with Lamar Hunt, young rich guy, wanted a team. They wouldn't let him in. He went and got his own league. And then later on, they merged, and, the rest is history. So he is one of the, the patriarchs of the now new NFL. So I just thought I'd add that to you.
Another connection from Lamar Hunt directly into the grassroots of Houston, Texas. Mm-hmm. Why he was from Dallas, right? There was a gentleman. I would call he's a true OG from the depths of Houston. His name is Lloyd Wells. Passed away a few years ago. Lloyd Wells had it delivered. What was the star running back from the University of Houston? I think he might have been the first black scholarship player. I can't think of his name. You guys on the Boomer Room, you can definitely supply that and help me out on this. Well, Lloyd Wells was connected him and with Hunt and became a favorite of Hunt. Lloyd Wells ended up working for the Kansas City Chiefs in the unofficial capacity. He was the head hunter, one of the street guys for the Kansas City Chiefs in this way. What Lloyd Wells was popular for, he was a guy that took all of the a lot of the photos that you guys would see. Remember the centerfold of the Jet magazine? If a girl appeared from out of Texas, then odds are that Lloyd Wells probably snapped the photo, either him or one of the Flag brothers from out of Cashmere, Ronald Flagg and all those guys. But that stuff was popular because that was one of the few platforms to get out. He was a guy that filmed, that made pictures of, from everybody from Muhammad Ali to George Foreman, and all that stuff. So that was one of the, and also more importantly on the basketball side, remember the UTEP, the Texas Western basketball team with Big Daddy Ladden? Well, Lloyd Wells was the guy. Remember, Ladden did not start college at Texas Western. He started at Tennessee State. Lloyd Wells went and got him in the middle of the night and drove him in that convertible Cadillac, and they went all the way to El Paso, where he delivered him in the middle of the night. He had that type of influence. I say street guys have always been around. People try to make it seem like grassroots nowadays. It's street guys just came up. There was always a guy that had fingerprints if a player was good, because somebody had needed guys like him to be the Harriet Tubman of these star athletes. Every city had one and has one. So, but we could proceed in regard to that one to just get that out there as far as how the Kansas City Chiefs were definitely a favorite. Did they ever say the name of that running back who I was talking about?
I haven't seen anybody talk about it.
Houston Cougars, the star running back. I can't think of his name. And he went on, and I think he played for the Chiefs, and but back in those days. But anyway, that was something I want to throw in there. But we're talking about those playoffs yesterday, and guess what? Garoppolo advances, as you mentioned earlier, despite only connecting on 6 pass attempts, 77 yards. And they still won that game very convincingly in dominating fashion, 27-0 at halftime, and proceeded to keep the can of whoopers opened up on the Green Bay Packers.
And Jimmy, you know what's so unique? I'm sitting there thinking about this. Undrafted guy, got cut by 6 teams, and he took you to your quarterback, who you paid all this money to, Jimmy G, who studied up under Bill Belichick and Tom Brady. He come in and game manage you to the Super. Kyle Shanahan said something last night that Jimmy, I love it, and coaches, I love it. They said, Coach, you got Jimmy G. And why you kept running the ball? Get what he said, Jimmy? It was working.
Yes.
What the heck? I'm going to go away from what's working to see can Jimmy G throw the football. No, you throw it 8 times. You're connected on 6, and let's get on out of here. We want to go to the Super Bowl. A very unique game yesterday, man. I just said, oh, that game. And Aaron Rodgers just didn't give me nothing, man. To me, Jimmy, he ain't that bad man no more. He just all right now. I know it's a good high school game going on ESPN, but we're doing a show, Kevin Frazier. So it's going to be very hard for us to watch it. I got it over there, Kevin Frazier. Matter of fact, I'm going to put it on just for you. I push a button over here, it'll pop up. So it's on. So what else? Hey, Anissa, what's going on? Happy MLK Day. And don't forget, hey, y'all, we got to, Jimmy, I got to break Jimmy. I saw something yesterday, and when we get a break for about a minute, I wanna play something from Martin Luther King when he was 26 years old. You remember I just said Lamar Hunt, Jimmy. Lamar Hunt tried to buy this team at 26 years old. I got a speech from Martin Luther King when he was 26 years old, and it's going to make you say, wow, this young dude was thinking like this at 26? Unbelievable the power. Yo, our young people. Let me tell you something, man. You don't have to be old to change the world. 26-year-old Lamar Hunt. 26-year-old, not comparing, but the ages, how these young men were visionaries about what was going on. But Jimmy, where we go from here? I know you got some stuff going on. Where we go from here?
Well, don't forget, coming up at the top of the hour, we're gonna talk amateur sports. I mean, amateur basketball, and we're gonna be joined by one of the coaches of Angelina College. They're in second place in Region 14. However, this past weekend, that was a situation where someone tweeted that they received an offer from a college, and in a very rare, because most time colleges turn the other cheek and just keep on moving because you never know how good that young person could be years to come. Maybe grow 5 inches, become a transfer, or you may be the coach and maybe going somewhere else and may want that young man. So coaches will ignore that. But this school did not. And we'll explain to you how they responded on social media in an effort to throw water on that brush fire, or on that flame, I would say, that somebody was trying to make a come up by claiming an offer from this college school. So we're going to be talking directly with the coaches from Angelina College, and as a teachable moment, not in an effort to embarrass anyone, but we will be attempting to make this a very teachable moment of how the process not necessarily works, but definitely how the process don't work for some people in trying to do this stuff. So that's the top of the hour. Stay tuned. Make sure you can share your thoughts, share the show right now with a lot of your friends and your timelines. Hit the share button, guys. That's very important at this juncture of the show. Now, I
don't know how close you watched the game last night, because I know you don't like football, but I was watching Fox a little bit, and Fox refused to mention Colin Kaepernick's name, even though it was a very relevant to bring up, because number one, Cap was the last 49ers quarterback to lead them to the Super Bowl, right? And Raheem Mostert broke Cap's playoff record for most rushing in a game. And I just thought was it disrespectful, or was it blatant, or is that the media's quest to be that's just the way they were. They're just the way they trying to erase this young man. Now I understand y'all say the NFL does it, but the media, it's unbelievable. And Jimmy, by the way, I just turned on the game and Mike Miller pops up right on the screen. So I guess Memphis is recruiting. Calipari's on the screen of the high school basketball game right now. Thank you, Freight, for allowing me to pop up the high school basketball game. So, Jimmy, what else you got? I wanted to add that before we get away from football. That's all.
Well, definitely NBA news, of course, over the weekend, and you guys know, of course, the every weekend presents a lot of marquee occurrences in games. This past weekend, you had the signature game that punctuated pretty much everything was the Lakers in Houston to face the Rockets. And that was a double dip. It was no Anthony Davis in that game. And however, LeBron James stepped up, 31 points, 12 assists, 5 rebounds, while leading the Lakers to the 124-115 win over the Rockets.
Rockets was up by double figures in that game too.
And what of course I did not watch, only a fragment of that game. Didn't watch the whole game. Watched bits and pieces here and there, but once again I'm looking at the box score, and once again I'm going to highlight it. I'm going to hit that nail to the hammer break. On the bench for the Rockets in that game, Daniel House played 23 minutes, produced 10 points. That's good for Daniel House. Eric Gordon played 30 minutes, produced 13 points. That's a C for if you're giving grades for Eric Gordon. However, Chandler played 10 minutes. Frazier, who was in the G League, got well. He don't even count. He got in the closing seconds. Wasn't even a minute. So Cephalosha played 7 minutes, produced no points. Once again, this bench, and I'm wondering, PJ Tucker again had 6 points for PJ Tucker. I didn't see that again. What the hell is happening with PJ? Has PJ Tucker hit a wall? Has he gotten old on us? Look, Father Time is undefeated. It gets us all. Trust me, one day we all reach to try to get out of the bed on the same side, the same way, and that back or that knee say, hold on, get your ass back in bed. And it happens. Father Time gets us all. You're going to make a front sound. You're going to get up. But PJ Tucker done got old.
One of these days you will listen to me. I told you the other day, and I want y'all to remember this. This the dog days of January. I told you that. And now you just complete the dog days of January. Yeah, no, he ain't got old. Guess what? He gonna get better after the All-Star break. Everything gonna be a lot better. The dog days of January. Ain't nobody never won a championship in January. And if you go back and look at your stats and your records, Stacey Houston, whatever you're talking about, when you go back and look at them, since you ain't got nothing to do, go look at this. LeBron James usually don't play well in January. He got a little dog day of January. Go back and look historically at how his stats drop in January. And that's all. I mean, Jimmy, I'm not worried. I never said the Rockets was going to win no championship. I just like the Rockets. And that's what people don't understand. Well, Robert, they ain't going to win no championship like that. I don't care. They win a championship or not. I can go to the finals no matter who play. I don't have to be here in Houston. But I ain't never, not one time, said Rockets win the championship. Not one time. I told y'all 29 teams, 30 teams, right? Every year, 29 teams go home mad. And guess what? The Rockets going to be one of them 29. Every year, 29 people ain't going to make it. Ain't going to win.
So, wait a minute. So you ready to set the Rockets on the side of the road? Hold on. What day?
Hey, listen, I've never said one time on this show that the Rockets going to win a championship. Never. Well, why you like James Harden? I said, I like James Harden. I said, if James Harden was the leader of Rockets today, see, you don't listen to him. You be over there typing and I don't know what the hell you be doing. But I said, if James Harden was the leader tomorrow, I wouldn't care about the Rockets. I said that several times. So how you feel I'm throwing the Rockets under the bus? I told y'all last year I was a Golden State Rocket. Now I'm a Houston Clipper. And guess what? I still got the Clippers, baby. So just sometimes don't get too excited about them. I know I'm loud and boisterous, but guess what? I always tell you the same thing. I've never said one time that the Rockets are going to win a championship. Never.
Alan, we're not talking about championships. We're not talking about when you said you're going to win the championship. We're just talking about that stuff you tried to feed. You ever ate baby food? That you tried to feed us that.
What I tried to feed you?
About the days of January, the dog days of January. Well, last year, the Rockets had a winning record in January. They 5-5.
And guess what hold on. And guess what they did when they got to the playoffs? Y'all said they fizzled out. Maybe they cruising right now, Jimmy. See, you know what? Some of y'all.
So you think they're cruising?
Y'all undercover Rocket groupies that when they do good, you cheer for them. What you say? I'm on the winning team. When they winning, you always, oh man, I knew that. I knew that. Soon as they get to losing, here you go. Well, then you put but guess what? I'm consistent.
I'm just saying. You said the dog. What do you mean by the dog days of January? When
The dog days of January. That's what's going on right now.
It only applies to the Houston Rockets?
No, it applies to a lot of teams.
Okay, so what championship team?
I just gave you. Oh my God!
What other team is it applying to? That's in the top.
I'm gonna say this one more time, because I know it's a difference between listening and hearing. You have a big problem listening.
No, my question to you.
So you understand the question. Answer.
No,
I said LeBron James has a history.
How's it a history and they had a winning record in January last year?
LeBron James has a history of his stats are lower in, because you asked the question, what the hell is wrong with PJ Tucker? I'm talking about an individual. You just said, how did he get old? So what I tried to give you, but you can't seem to process the questions you said PJ Tucker is getting old. Did you not?
That was before January.
That
happened before January.
Jenny, when did he get old?
When you saw his productivity decrease by 50% or more,
Jimmy, we 20 days into January right now, Jimmy. Okay.
When you saw PJ Tucker's output, his average, it decreased.
I'm not gonna let you get off the hook.
Average.
You asked me the question.
On a routine basis.
So you a stat man. Go and look over the years of LeBron James and watch his productivity in January. That's all I'm telling you. I know you don't know nothing about that term. I understand. I know. I'm just teaching you something.
Didn't LeBron James get hurt last January?
I said go back in the history.
I'm talking about as a Laker. We can't compare LeBron and the Cleveland Cavaliers or the Miami Heat with what's going on with the Houston Rockets right now. We talking about an individual. I'm talking about the team. As a team. I'm not talking about that. You can't.
Okay, you know what, Jim? I'm gonna just let you talk because you ain't got a clue what I'm talking about.
Exactly. I'm telling you once again, so that I clarify for you guys. I know you guys understand what I'm saying. The team, the Houston Rockets, are 5-5. I'm not talking about James Harden, Russell Westbrook, none of those. I'm saying as a team, they can't put it together. They are in a neutralized funk right now. So in doing so, what is wrong with the team? So that means I said no other of the top 4 teams in the Western Conference are in this type of funk. Certain teams, the thing is, the Rockets will make them in the funk is they're losing to teams that's on paper they're not supposed to lose to. Now, I can understand you losing to the Lakers, but at the same time, they're 2-1 against the Clippers. You know, they're 0-2 against the Lakers. The Lakers own the Rockets, but it looks like the Rockets own the Clippers. So guess what? If they want to take that and run with it, then so be it. But at the same time, as a team, which includes the coach, they are failing to go and put together a competitive and a satisfying product, especially when the lights are bright, and more so at home. At home. So that's the thing. It ain't got nothing to do with
your expectations for
what he's been doing in January.
I'm gonna use your words against you. What was your expectations for them?
For the Rockets?
Yes.
To be a serious competitor to reach the Western Conference Finals. That would be remember, I said that would get you to where you've been before. That would get you to a space and then not fold in the final game or the eliminating game of that will go on the shoulders of their star player and our players to not crumble or choke in the eliminating game. If you're competitive, that's one thing, but not to fold, crumble, or choke. That's the expectations for the Rockets. Because guess what? If they get on the right side of the playoffs, the Lakers can take care of the Clippers. The Rockets are doing okay against the Lakers. Well, take that back. Let me reverse that. In the right side of the playoffs, the Clippers can take care of the Lakers. The Rockets can't beat the Lakers. The Lakers, it don't look like it. They can do, and this is the Laker team this past Saturday without AD. They and as much as the media, some people in the mainstream media are crying for them to complete a trade They don't need to trade nothing. Second best record in the league, best record in the Western Conference. They've been stable.
You don't win a championship, Jimmy, in January, Jimmy. And I keep trying to tell y'all.
No, you don't win a championship in January. But
so
guess
what? The best team in January right now is the Memphis Grizzlies. Then they got the best running. So what they gonna do?
Memphis Grizzlies will make the playoffs, and that's a winning season for them. That's winning. That's getting to the championship for the Memphis Grizzlies because nobody expect them to make the playoffs when the season begins. So that's the equivalent of them to making the playoffs. That's the equivalent of them of getting but expectations are different based on the team and the players and the personnel. With the Houston Rockets, making the playoffs ain't a happy sight.
I'm going to repeat this right now so you can hear me. Jimmy, okay, I like the Houston Rockets because of the players on the team. I'm not a fan of no team. So always remember that. I like the Clippers, got relationships there. That's how I roll. You know, I don't know how y'all roll. That's how I roll. So, what else you got? You want to talk about how the Clippers won?
Yeah, I mean, Kawhi Leonard.
You want to talk about that?
Kawhi Leonard played magnificent in the win over the Pelicans. I mean, 38, 39 points. You know, that's and the Clippers. Once again, we're talking about team. The Clippers have surged from the 5th seed up until the 2nd seed in the Western Conference. A week ago, roughly 7 to 10 days ago, the Clippers was like the 4th or the 5th seed. The Rockets, now if the playoff ended today, the Houston Rockets would be the 6th seed in the Western Conference. That's what I'm talking about. If the playoffs ended today,
guess what, Jimmy? The playoffs don't start right now. Jimmy, that's the unique thing about this. The playoffs don't start right now, my brother. You and Stacey Houston telling you to get me. You can't get me, Stacey. I'm giving you information. Dude, January champions are not made in January. Didn't you say we got to wait till the playoffs? We got to wait till the seeding. I'm following what y'all said. That's what y'all told me.
Alan, tell me something. What you're doing right now, what you're saying right now, you're trying to climb out of a window. And that in any sport, it does matter. But for certain players and certain teams, it don't as much.
I got a question.
It does matter.
Well, why do y'all constantly on this show explain to me why what James Harden doesn't do in the regular season, he don't matter because he ain't going to do. But now, when I'm talking about the regular season, you move the goalpost. Isn't January the regular season? I got a question. Isn't January part of the regular season?
Absolutely.
So the regular season don't matter. So it don't matter.
No, that's not. No, that's not what I just said. I said it does matter. That's the last thing I just said. It does matter. But for some guys, it don't matter as much as to others. With James Harden, it does matter. It extremely matters what he does in the postseason more so than in the regular season. But at the same time, so when you go and you try to stuff and glorify the 50-point wins and 50-point games and the 60-point games and the 40-point games and averaging 37 points a game this season, leading the league and all that doesn't move the needle for the fans.
You know what though? I'm gonna tell y'all about me. I don't talk about his 50-something games for y'all. I talk about it for me. I don't care what you think about it. His 50-point game. I know you and nobody on this Facebook feed ever done scored 50 points in the NBA. So guess what? He doing something ain't none of us can do.
So you're gonna take that and run with it.
So, yes, I tried to tell you, you're not listening. Just like you, I'm always on the winning team. Guess what? I'm with James. James a winner. James got a max shoe deal and a max he winning. So guess what? Yes, I like James Harden. I like the max guys.
And it's funny, I'm looking on the standings.
I'm telling y'all because y'all listening to it.
The 7th
on
seed,
the show, Clarence.
The OKC Thunder is the 7th seed right now, and another team that nobody saw coming. And so give it, shout out to them. And of course, the Memphis Grizzlies sitting in the 8th seed. But coming up shortly, guys, I'm going to go and connect us with the head coach from Angelina College. That conversation that we was telling you about, it's about to go down in just a second.
While you connect them, I'm going to go with this thing. Okay? All right. Let me help you out. It's MLK. I got a little tribute to him. Very, very important. Like I say, I wish I had known a lot more about him when I was younger. But on this Martin Luther King Day, I'm reminded that this is not a holiday from work, but a Sabbath for social justice. There's no better way to observe the day, to consecrate the day, to commemorate the day, than to read his books. I'm reminded that listening to excerpts, from his sermons or speeches once a year is a little like looking at a glass of water once a week to satisfy your thirst. It's simply not enough. Unless you read the works and read the words of Dr. King, you might not know, because I didn't know. His last sermon, he made a historical case, if not for reparations, then for reparatory justice in March of 1968. Unless you've read the books and read his words, you might not appreciate the fact that he was not only a moral enemy of poverty, but also a consistent, constructive critic of capitalism. Unless you read his books now of Dr. King's, you might not appreciate the fact that his eulogy for the 4 little girls slain in their innocence in a church represent a relative morality apropos commentary on hate crime then and now. It was readable then, and it's readable and tweetable now. Unless you read these words, you might not appreciate this guy. So do me a favor, y'all. I had to do it. I read some of it just blew me away. But before the coach come on, Jimmy, I want everybody, because we're going to get into another subject, I want everybody to listen. This is one of his speeches. It's short, that he said, that he did at 26 years old.
We are here this evening for serious business. We are here in a general sense because first and foremost, we are American citizens. And we are determined to acquire our citizenship to the fullness of its meaning. You know, my friends, there comes a time when people get tired of being trampled over by the iron feet of oppression. We are here this evening because we are tired now. Now let's assume that we are not here advocating violence. We have never done that. The only way that we have in our hands this evening is the word of protest. And we are not lying. We are not lying in what we are doing. If we are lying, the Supreme Court of this nation is lying. If we are lying, the Constitution of the United States is lying. If we are lying, God Almighty is lying.
Yeah, Jimmy. That was 26 years old. And that's how this young man was. Special young man. And I understand that Folkman, Senator McDaniel, We have to do the same for Malcolm X and Marcus Garvey. Believe you me, I'm reading their books. One of the first books I really read, I never forget. It was Malcolm X autobiography that I read from cover to cover. That didn't have to read. That wasn't required reading. Was the Malcolm X autobiography, I think. And but it was just unique. Jimmy, have you got the coach back yet?
Yes, yes. We of course we're joined right now,
Okay.
and we explained to you earlier. Turn the topic, and of course, this past weekend there was a scenario where a person, somebody went on social media, and you know, at all the times people claim offers, they publish campus visits, and misconstrue or mislead you guys with unofficials, and make you think that they are officials. People do it all the time. It's it's a part of the culture. However, over the weekend, it was a rare instance where one college coach or one college program, they took it up on themselves to say, "Oh, yo," and correct the error and say, "Yay, we did not offer the young man. We wish him good graces. He probably showed he's good, but we did not offer him." And to some people, you know, it doesn't matter who the person was. Doesn't matter who the person that tweeted it was, you know, in that specific instance. But what we're going to try to do today is we haven't joined us is head coach Nick Wade. He's of Angelina College. They're in Region 14. Right now, they're in first place in the South Zone. That conference has 14 teams in it, I think. They're in first in their zone. Half the teams in the North, half in the South. And Angelina is kicking butt in their zone. So joining us is the head coach of the program, Nick Wade. And Coach, how's it going today? Welcome to the Chop Shop, Coach Wade. Is he there? Are we going?
That's your device over there.
We're going to see. We're going to get him back on that second. I'm going to get him back on it. Meanwhile, let me get him back on it, Coach.
Yes.
There we go. Coach Wade, how's it going?
It's going well. Happy MLK Day to you guys.
Oh man, definitely happy MLK to you and your program as well. And speaking of MLK Day, before we get into the conversation, are you guys, were you on the road now for MLK Day at home? Is your team doing anything special on this particular day?
You know, today's a holiday. We do have practice today though, but you know, with everything being shut down, it's tough for us in our time to really get out and do some community service. But definitely, we definitely have something planned later on in the week for the guys.
Okay, great. And you care to share in that with us? I mean, let everybody know how your program rocked during MLK week.
Yeah, you know, the funny thing is my boys are on me about cooking. They want a barbecue. That's what we're going to do, just have a barbecue and games and just fellowship and just be thankful for the opportunity that we're given, you know, not only to be in school, but to play the game that we love.
And you guys currently are in first place in the South Zone of Region 14 in the junior college ranks. Explain to the listeners right now, because we're talking about junior colleges and community colleges, and those are two-year institutions. And right now I'm going to try my best to utilize this slot to inform and supply the listeners and the viewers with as much intel about community college, junior college, two-year institutions as possible. Explain to us about Region 14 and the makeup of it and how you guys surged up to the top of the conference at this point.
Yeah, well, we've, you know, here this is our second year together as a staff, and our thing, you know, early is that we're not going to duck anybody. So there's certain rating systems out there. We've had a top 5 schedule in terms of strength of schedule in the country. You know, I want to say 8 of our games so far have been against top 25 opponents in the country, or somebody that was in the top 25 or is in the top 25 now. We're 6-2 in conference, number 1 in the South Zone at the moment, and number 2 overall at the moment. And but you know, Region 14, for people that don't know, mid-major to high-major athletes get recruited out of out of this conference. There's been, Bill Self was just at a school in this conference the other day, looking at a kid. U of H has been to games. All these mid-major and high-major institutions really come and pluck, from our region here. So it's one of the toughest regions in the country for sure. And really Texas basketball in the junior college ranks is up there in the country. Region 5 is a really, really powerful region as well. But, we played North Zone games and South Zone games where the notice crossover games, and we're able to be 5-2 against the North teams, and now we're starting a whole slate against the South team. So, our boys have been competing at a really high level and doing a really good job right now, but it's not over. I mean, every night is an absolute test of just will and execution and effort, and you got to bring it, or you can find yourself on the outside looking in.
And you guys understand, you mentioned a while ago that Bill Self was at one of the schools last week, and a lot of the schools, a lot of the Big 12 coaches and programs recruit that conference regularly. So explain, like in recruiting, kids are there for 2 years. How your recruiting, how does it work with junior colleges? When do you guys start are you guys eyeballing potential transfers from that may be freshmen at the Division I level? Or are you guys looking for high school seniors right now in the month of January?
Every program is different. There's some programs out there that take a lot of Division I transfers. There's some programs out there that eyeball kids that may be Division I talents but just have not gotten those offers yet. And then there's some programs out, like I can only speak on our program. We take guys that fit our culture, fit our fabric, high character kids that we think can play at a high level that we may feel are under recruited or really fit what we do. So all of our kids, are kids that some of them didn't have the grades or weren't qualified out of high school, but had they been, they'd be on Division I rosters right now. Some kids are, kids that are Division II kids that are really, really, talented and work really, really hard. But, every program's different. But here in Angelina, we just try to do, our culture reigns supreme here. And I think that we just look for players that really fit our mold and our fabric.
And so you particularly, you mentioned like some players do this. What is the ideology, or how does at Angelina College, you guys, what method, which one of those options do you typically take? You've only been there 2 years, and understand 2 years,
right?
And you're sitting in first place right now in your zone. So you're making waves. Whatever you're doing is working, and we definitely applaud you for that and your effort. It's definitely working. But as far as so people can understand, because a lot of times the stigmas in the midst are junior colleges is only for players who don't make the grades or who are non-qualifiers. Explain and dispel that myth if you would.
Yeah, no, unfortunately, a lot of people don't, like you're talking about, aren't, well versed in the junior college ranks. But the truth of the matter is, if you can play basketball at a high level, junior college is probably for you. There's a kid from Houston on a junior college roster right now that was a qualifier. Somehow didn't get any offers, and he's averaging 20 points a game, shooting 45 from three. And he just needed this, extra year to, continue his recruitment. And some college coaches just are not sure, how their game is going to translate from the high school level to the college level. So, going to a junior college, seeing you play high level basketball is something that, that college coaches just look at. Here in Angelina, we're about a couple things. First of all, your energy and your effort and, your talent definitely are really big factors, but we dig a little deeper. We go to the character of the kid. We pop up at kids' games just to see how they are on a night where, they may not be successful, when they're playing really, really good teams, how they handle that, how they handle coaching, how they look at their coaches when they're being coached, how they deal with their teammates. There's a lot that goes into, offering a kid here in Angelina because, being able to play college basketball at any level is really, really important. It's really, really special, but it needs to be handled with a certain care as well. And us having confidence in our recipe. And again, we're just we're one school out there. But we think that if we take a good kid that plays really hard, that eventually, those things win out.
And joining us live, of course, just tuned into the Chop Shop, head coach Nick Wade at Angelina Junior College up in Lufkin, Texas. That's roughly about an hour and a half outside of north of Houston, northeast of Houston. Coach, you are this past weekend. One of the things, of course, another things we can teach on is there was a post on social media which claimed that your program had offered a 12th grader a scholarship, and abruptly your program on your program's Twitter account responded saying that, although we are sure this kid is a great player, we have not offered. Keep plugging away, though, youngster. It would all pay off. Now, that tweet, that response, it opened the eyes and sent like a wow moment throughout some of the basketball community, especially in Greater Houston, because this is one of the, so we're not concerned as earlier, this is not an effort to embarrass anyone. But a lot of times people just don't understand, because it could be one of two things. It could be a situation where a young man who plays for a summer coach, and that young man or that parent, that family may trust and believe everything that they tell them. Well, they may have said, you have an offer from Angelina. They might have said, okay, and ran with it. Or it could have came from a different angle, and they might have took it and ran with it. So what advice do you have for people out there that assume that, first of all, that you're just going to offer scholarships to players that you hadn't even visited with yet?
Right. And I'm glad you said that. This isn't about embarrassing anybody or anything like that. First and foremost, there's so many layers to this. The first layer I want to touch on is my assistant. The only way I knew about this was my assistant texted me and he said, hey, did you offer this kid, without telling me? And I think the first thing that, everybody should understand is, my assistant, I feel, is the best assistant in the world. And the reason we've been able to have such a great relationship and work together is because there's honesty and, we trust each other and we talk about everything. Now, being the head coach, I do get the final say, but he has tremendous input in the program. So him seeing something like that, thankfully, our relationship is solid, but he could have thought I was working and doing things, without him and everything we built. And that's important to me. I would never, just offer somebody, although I could, without talking to my assistant, because we have a hand in this together. That's the first thing. Also, there's recruits out there that we're recruiting, and this is a two-headed monster. Some kids that, we're talking to and building relationships with, if they see a tweet like that, they could think that we're not being truthful in what we're telling them and their vision for the program. That's an issue. And also, there's also relationships we have with summer coaches, high school coaches, parents out there that, whether we choose to pursue a kid or not, may feel some type of way that we're going after this type of kid and not this type of kid. And that could, and that could, cause some problems as well. But more importantly, I just hope that, people understand. And again, I can only speak for Angelina College. We think being an Angelina College Roadrunner is special. We think that it's not meant for everybody. The kids here work extremely hard on and off the basketball court. My assistant, absolutely sacrifices a whole big piece of his life to building something greater than himself, and we all do that. We want offers from Angelina College to carry weight and to be something special and sought after, and we just want to make sure that whomever it is, whether it be a student athlete, whether it be a high school coach, whether it be a recruiting coach, whatever, that they're not just throwing our name in there just to make it seem, just to make it, fat in the pot, so to speak. We think it's special, and the guys here, our student athletes here, they go through a lot and sacrifice a lot to be a part of this, culture. And I think to everybody just, that's vested in it, it's just right to set the record straight that, hey, although we are sure that kid is a great player and that he's going to do great things, he did not receive an offer from here yet. You know what I mean? And not saying that could change in the future, could not change in the future, but I think, honesty for the parents and everybody involved is always the best way to go.
And so a parent that's listening right now, Coach, what is like, how does offers, now you mentioned sometimes your assistant coach has the capacity to extend or be an extension of you giving offers.
Right.
From your program, at what point, how do you guys offer, and when does it normally come out? Do you normally give offers out in January for 12th graders, or it can come at any time? I'm just trying to get a time window.
Yeah, no, at the JUCO level, we're very, very fortunate that that we can give out offers anytime after November. So, for instance, we've offered the point guard at North Shore, Joshua Cooper, you know what I mean, who we think is going to be a tremendous help. And, we got him done in January. The thing about it is, and again, I can only speak for this program, the parents or the guardians will hear from us directly. We don't like to do our business through third parties, so to speak. So, like, for instance, if I have a relationship with somebody and be like, hey, just going to let you know, we are probably going to offer this kid, the parent and the kid would know that first. That would never just come from an AAU coach, a trainer or something like that. We just feel here at Angelina College, that's just a recipe for bad business. If we're really going to be what we say we're about and building relationships and stuff like that, we want the parents and the guardians to know who's talking to their child, what they're talking about, what we're telling them, just to keep everybody on the same page so there's no miscommunication. And we would hate for there to be any miscommunication with a parent. Well, my kid said you offered them, and then that not be the case. Now we have people upset for a lack of communication. And I mean, hopefully what you can tell from this conversation is in Angelina College, communication is paramount. Good, bad, great, or ugly. We will always be honest with each other just because that's what families do. They're always honest with each other, whether it hurts, whether it's great. And that's how we try to do everything we do, especially when it comes to recruiting, because me as a head coach, I have an oath to these parents, not only to get their kid a degree, but to make them better, men, better husbands, better brothers, better sons, everything like that. And the only way we can do that is there's elite communication. Now,
Coach, in situations of such, whereas we mentioned earlier, that was a commitment, that was a post on social media. If you guys just tune in, that had claimed an offer from this particular school, which is Angelina College, located in Lufkin. Angelina's in first place right now. They're kicking butt in the South Zone of Region 14, which is a JUCO, a junior college conference located in Texas. Well, the school's Twitter account responded and denied that they offered the young man. So in doing so, Coach, we're providing right now not an effort to giving you the disclaimer, not an effort to embarrass anyone. This is a teachable moment for everyone. That's what we are simply trying to do. That's why we're not mentioning the name of the young man. We're not mentioning the name of the initial poster, which could, if it was a good day, but it's MLK Day. We're not trying to do that right now. Now, my question to you, Coach Wade, during that time, and this is not an attempt to embarrass any other program as well. I'm just curious to find out if any other programs reached out to you while after seeing that initial post that a certain young man had received an offer, and they probably reached out to you and said, wait a minute, you offered this kid and didn't offer my kid? Did you guys get any type of feedback or pushback from other programs out there?
Yeah, we did programs, individuals. Yeah, some people also called just because they kind of know how we act and how we're looking for it. Now there was definitely some confusion there, about that, and that's one of the reasons we felt just to kind of address it, how we did, and like we said, the parties involved. There's no ill will. We're not upset or anything like that. We just want to make sure everybody's on the right page. Unfortunately, we're in this not, or fortunately or unfortunately, we're in this era of social media. And like we tell our guys, a lot of what you see on social media isn't the whole story. Some of it is true. Some of it's not true. Some of it's third. You know what I mean? There's just so much out there. But in something as important as recruiting and something as important as building relationships, if I'm speaking to somebody on the phone or face to face and I'm telling them one thing, and then on social media, sort of out of left field, something else comes in, that could affect my relationship, you know, in front of me. And that was the reason for us even reaching out and just kind of putting a halt to that and just saying, hey, this isn't necessarily true. And I'm going to be quite honest, you know, this is maybe the fourth or fifth time this has happened to the program. The majority of the time, I would venture to say it is not the student athletes that are doing this. It is not the student athletes. It is somebody that's a little bit older trying to make sure that they are still in the know or they are connected in some type of way. And I think that's what's disheartening for us because, you know, kids are working their rear ends off for these offers, for that opportunity to play at the next level. And I would hate for anybody to be in a relationship with a coach or anything like that and they're not being truthful about, you know, what's going on or what's transpiring.
And now, Coach, you definitely we have the Boom Boom Room right now. We welcome and invite any of you guys that may have questions for Coach Nick Wade and regarding the basketball or recruiting. Stacy has a question. He says, he asked, what is truly accomplished by a college coach putting a kid on blast publicly about an offer? When you could have,
right.
And I'll let you just answer that.
Yeah, well, no, and that's the, you know, it's the very thing, you know, and she's definitely right. What's the, I would just put her at ease. We didn't put the kid on blast. We never spoke to the kid directly. There was definitely a direct message sent there, but again, I think that I would like her to kind of try to see that from the other aspect of it.
Stacey is a he, Coach. It's a he.
Stacey.
Oh, sorry, I apologize.
That's all right.
You know, and my thing would be to him is just that I need him to look at it from the other side, just real quick. And if we just handle it behind scenes and that takes place, like I said, there's recruits out there, there's families out there, there's fathers, there's coaches out there that won't understand that, hey, this wasn't true. I'm able to put that fire out just in one tweet, like, hey, sorry, there's just some misinformation here, but, you know, this isn't necessarily true. Because again, let's just say we were recruiting somebody at that similar position, whatever that position was, that kid may felt that we were being untruthful with him, or, hey, they must not be into me anymore. They just offered this other kid. Like, you know, there's so many layers to that, but you don't get any satisfaction from someone, you know, quote unquote, calling somebody out. It's not about putting them on blast. The truth should always supersede any of that.
Yeah, and hope you guys got that and totally clear from Coach. And I understand, and I know it's kind of tough as you guys mentioned. It's a lot of people really don't believe and don't want to digest that acts of such meaning that in the instance of this, as Coach just confessed to, other programs contacted him and with pushback against the validity, in the effort to seek out the validity of that initial tweet. Think about that. So does this mean, Coach, does it feel as if you're almost on trial? You're on trial for every kid that you present an offer to?
You know, if I'm being completely honest, I personally don't feel that way. You know what I mean? I'm in a job, in a profession where people are going to scrutinize my every move, regardless whether we're winning, losing, you know, whatever. So I really can't worry about, you know, feeling how people feel about that. My only job is to make sure that I am doing the best by my staff, my student athletes, my institution, my athletic director, and we felt just as a staff that this was the best course of action, just so people can understand just more so than any that our communication with those individuals and with certain people will reign supreme. You know what I mean? And those things. But no, I don't feel like I'm on trial about it. I mean, you know, people are always going to second guess. I mean, we have guys on our team now that people, when they signed here, were like, but you know, he just fit the Angelina College way. And you know, so I'm really comfortable with the scrutiny on that in any regard.
All right, now I want to moving to another topic, coaching, regarding the recruiting. What are the qualifications for? There are 12th graders out there, and some some get better, and than others from this time of the year. So, what are the qualifications to for a junior college to get in? Because there are some people out there. I've seen instances, and whereas kids that may not even graduate high school, they still ended up playing at a junior college. They went and got a GED or whatever. Explain that.
That's it?
Explain that.
Yeah, as long as you have a high school diploma and a GED, you have a very, very, I would say above a 99% chance to get into a junior college and be able to play. You know, my advice to kids that maybe aren't getting the offers from where they, you know, would like to get offers from or things, I would be open to junior college. If you haven't been to a junior college basketball game, I would implore you to go to one. For some reason, a lot of people think that it is this level where, you know, kids aren't that good go. We have, like, on our team, and I can specifically speak about our team, we have a kid that's number 20 in the country at the moment that just signed to Cal State Bakersfield, who has the opportunity to possibly be an All-American, and he's going to a mid-major conference. We have freshmen that are getting mid-major looks and interest as we speak. So this is Division I basketball that we're playing, you know, here and now. These guys are from all over the country. We have international kids. This is a really high level of basketball. So for all those people out there that don't know, there's nothing wrong with knocking your basics out of the way and being able to transfer to a 4-year school. Some of the JUCOs out there have scholarships and scholarship athletes. And if the goal is to be able to continue to play, I think JUCO is one of the best kept secrets in the world.
And so now the live periods versus dead periods. Explain to the parents, when are you guys at the junior college level? When are you guys eligible to watch players versus when you're not?
Okay. Every day that ends in Y is when we can go watch players. That's the beautiful thing about junior college. Every day that ends in Y, we can go watch players. We can reach out to players. We can, you know, we're different. We're not under the NCAA umbrella. Okay. We are the NJCAA, but we're not under the NCAA. So we don't have the dead periods and things like that. You know, so we're able to go, whether it's live period, whether it's dead period, we're able to go out there and still try to catch some games.
And we have a question for you, Coach. We're going to land the plane, and Ricky has a question. Say, please enlighten me. And if a conditional offer is presented, nothing proceeds until a letter of intent. Is that correct?
Yes. You know, I don't know schools. Again, I can only speak on our school. I don't know schools that really give conditional offers. If a coach wants to offer a kid, they will do that, and he's absolutely right. Once we send the LOI, that's how you know an offer is for real. That letter of intent is like, hey, we would like you to sign now. You know, so when we offer a kid, we don't do this 3-month waiting period to kind of get them on scholarship. But we offer them, we have our scholarship paper ready to go so they can, you know, so they can sign.
And also, enlighten, what are the time, like Division I schools have 2 specific designated weeks where they can extend and sign players to letters of intent. That's the Division I level. Now, you guys, when can you accept letters of intent and extend them to a potential recruits?
After November 15th. After November 15th, we can send out our LOIs and get that ball rolling.
So as we mentioned earlier, Joshua Cooper from North Shore High School, he committed to Angelina, and Did he sign his letter of intent with you guys?
Yes, he signed his letter of intent in January.
Great. And so my point is, what I want to just share that is there was no, before Joshua Cooper signed, I didn't see any social media breadcrumbs that were left or that were out there hinting from Joshua Cooper nor Angelina College. I didn't hear him saying, oh, I think I might narrow it down next week. Oh, I think I might do, all out the blue sky, you woke up, pow, he signed. Is that common for you guys when landing your prospects?
No, I mean it's different. We've had kids do it both ways because I also think it's really, really special. If you get an offer from a college, man, flaunt that because you've earned it, you've worked that hard. We've had kids post their offers. You know what I mean? We've seen both of it. So for a kid that has the opportunity to play at the next level, however they want to handle their social media, you know what I mean? We leave that up to them. That's a really exciting time, and the players know that. And the coaches understand that too, And again, our thing is, I mean, we support all the kids in that. We support in their freedom to do that, But we want to make sure the right information is out there too, because we think that's really, really important.
And Coach, any last words of encouragement or words of advice for the people out there listening and to the Chop Shop right now?
Yeah, I would say this. I would say parents, just make sure that your communication is great. If a summer coach or any coach is telling you that somebody wants to offer your kid, there's no reason why they shouldn't be able just to give that coach's information to you and you have those conversations. To the kids out there, the same thing. If a coach is really, really interested in you, they should have your contact information and be building that relationship. So don't be scared to ask those questions of someone. Hey, well, if this coach is interested, can I please have his number so I can build the relationship? Because it's the relationship of that kid and that coach. That's all I would say. Just that, again, our whole thing in this is that we just want everybody to know that, here at Angelina College, we love what we do. We think it's a little bit different and we think it's really, really special. And that, there's a lot of special players in Houston that, we hope choose Angelina College when we're recruiting. But I just wanted to tell you guys, thank you. I know, being a young black male, that there's not too many African-American males that have their own radio show and get to talk basketball and have such a following you guys do. It's an inspiration from over here, and just want to wish you guys a happy MLK Day. And please keep leading the masses, leading the youth, because you guys are doing it the right way. And it's been a blessing.
And thanks, Coach. How do you got anything?
No, I just let you and Coach have it, man. I was back over here, and I was over here watching LeBron and Sierra Canyon getting beat. So thank you, Coach, for taking up. You gave me a few minutes to watch the game. I appreciate it. Hey, LeBron got up and walked out, Jim.
I mean, we're not studying about LeBron right now.
No.
If people wouldn't feed into that, then people would have expectations. That's all. Bron is a ninth grader. That's marginal. He's above average, but he's not the next greatest thing at this point. So, but anyway, Coach, thanks so much for your time, and definitely give a shout out to your assistants and Zach about to tie the knot. Zach Kircher, your assistant coach, who's one of the Houston favorites, and we definitely.
He's the hardest worker too, man. Everything that goes on over here, man. This dude has a big hand in it. I'm super blessed to have this guy next to me.
Yeah, I mean, indeed, I'm telling you, I tip my lid to Zach. He's definitely.
He'd be everywhere.
I mean, he's overachieving in the business right now as an assistant coach, getting it done. And of course, Angelina College guys will be in action on Wednesday down in Port Arthur at Lamar State College, 7 p.m. tip-off. And that's Angelina College at Lamar State. And on Saturday, they will battle for first place in their zone with Lee College. And that's a home game, 4 p.m. Saturday. Coach, how can they invite them out to some of your games, invite the community who's watching, and how can they follow you guys on social media?
Oh, yeah, no question. Follow us at Angelina Hoops. All of our games are streamed. We're really lucky. So if you just want to go to AngelinaAthletics.com, click on the game, and then you'll see a little camcorder. You can click and watch all the games live. But yeah, we're only an hour and a half out of Houston, and like we said, we're both from Houston. We love all the Houston players and all the Houston coaches and grassroots coaches down there, man. We can't wait to continue building what we hope is a title contender with guys from our own city.
That's what I'm talking about, Coach. That's what we like to hear. Congratulations, man, and thanks so much for joining us. Coach Nick Wade, guys, Angelina College, who joined us on the Chop Shop. We definitely appreciate that. Some good convo, and that's what we think about, and that's what we try to provide to you guys. And once again, didn't embarrass nobody. And I saw, and we can kind of share afterthoughts on that real quick before we move on into our mailbag. But Stacey Houston, I don't remember his initial tweet. I don't think he embarrassed the young man, because the initial tweet did not come from the social media account of the prospect. It came from an adult. So they responded to that adult. And in responding, the coaches from the Angelina College account did not mention the player at all by name. So I think that's the best, because in speaking with them, they felt compelled to do that. As Coach mentioned, that's not the first time that's happened to them. So at some point in time, you get sick and tired of being sick and tired of people thinking that they can just throw your name out there. Grown folk, as Coach mentioned himself, he said grown folk. He said all of this stuff isn't done from the young prospects. It's an adult. And also,
but it's the kid it still affects the kid, though.
It still affects the kid, but the adult is, and so it can affect the kid, but in one way or another. But the thing is this, it's reality. We are talking about 12th graders. Now, he's not doing this to 9th graders or 10th graders. These are mostly 12th graders. He happened to be a junior college coach. The thing is this coach clarified, if his program is offering you a scholarship, he said it. He's talking directly to the parent. So I got out of this.
Well, that's good. That's good.
If Angelina is offering you, it's coming, then the parent gonna get, he said it. The parent is going to get it pretty much first. I like that. I respect that. And that's all we can do. You have to realize.
In other words, not the grown-up, the summer coach or whoever the influencer.
Yes.
Okay, I got you. Well, that's good.
And it was so much I got from that, and I like, because we touched on a few topics, and one was, I don't know if you guys have got that, the coach also confessed that there were other programs who contacted Angelina to push back, saying basically, man, how you gonna offer this kid and not offer our kid? This kid ain't no good. This kid. So think about that stuff goes on fluently.
Of course it does.
And a lot of grown folks and parents have no idea the venom that's spewed about a lot of the players once they get offers. That's why I tell you guys, if you don't want people in your business,
don't put it on social media.
That's it. If you don't want people in your business. There are some people that's going to tweet out and recruit and tweet out everything. They going to tweet out everything. Some people, they're going to tweet out, select and choose as far as their business. But then if you don't want people in your mix, think about it. We've all seen posts on social media with young people and some old people alike with stacks of money. If you don't want people knowing how much money you got, why are you posting it on social media? If you don't want people to know you just that you flossing, then why put your car? Pictures of your car, we have to be consciously aware of be accountable of our actions and what we're doing. We can't throw the rock and try to hide our hands behind our back on this stuff. Because you know what? I understand, as Stacey, you were saying earlier, I understand the situations that these coaches are in, especially when you have other programs that's going to basically try to hold them hostage and say, if you're going to offer that guy, don't even call us no more to try to recruit none of our kids. This is what this is what some programs told Angelina when I talked to the coaches earlier. If you're gonna offer this dude, I can't believe you're gonna offer him, not offer my kid. My kid is ranked this. His kid not even ranked.
Jimmy, I've heard this stuff, man. I mean, I hate to even talk about it on right now in public. These people really be talking negative about other people's kids.
Ooh, man.
I mean, and I have to stop the conversation. Whoa. I don't want to hear that. And they be talking about it to me so I can imagine what they do. I don't want to hear what you got to say. That's why I always tell people I got to go see the guy for myself. Because I can't depend on what these guys say about these kids, man. And then, Jimmy, you know what killed me? There be guys in there just don't even have nothing to do with nothing. And they be coming about kids. I mean, y'all don't understand, man. And Jimmy, and guess what? We probably would never be able to stop those guys, but maybe we can deter the next generation, y'all. You don't have to say nothing negative about this guy to make your guy better. You don't. I promise you, them same people you talking about, they looking at you. Just keep doing. That's all I can say. Just keep doing.
I mean, that's the thing, and a lot of people don't know any other way, and that's what, one of the things you have to realize. A lot of people, that's the only way that they know how to do it, and it doesn't. And then you want harmony, and little bitty things like it gets me, because there are ways to promote your kid. There's a school for everybody, but just because you picked the school for you picking the school and saying, Coach, you ought to recruit him, instead of saying, Coach, here's our roster. Which one do you like? And sure enough, the one that coach like is not going to be the one that you're going to think your kid is greater or should be doing recruited at a higher level than what that coach may want. And that's part of the cat chase in this thing. And those coaches, especially the coach that's in first place, the better you do, you win, they will want to come.
Coach, this is what killed me, Jimmy. I mean, people come to me, this dude here, Jimmy ain't got this dude ranked. This dude I got go, come out here and see this guy. Then I come out there and see the guy. And I want to say, man, I need to go tell Jimmy to drop his ass because he was terrible. But I don't do that. I'll never. See, that's what people don't understand. I have never in my life called Jimmy and said, Jimmy, don't you rank? Jimmy, this guy here. I just said, when I see a player I like, I just talk about the player. I don't talk about no other player. I just said, I like him. I saw some look. Let me tell y'all something. I got to make a disclaimer. I'm going to make sure I have my magazine in any car, wherever I try to go, in any car. Jimmy, I went and didn't have my magazine the other day, man. And I went to see the Manville play. I didn't know nobody on Manville team but the big fella. I was so mad at myself. Hey, man, I don't know how y'all can do it. I can't go I got to have, you got to have one for the crib, one for the car. Nigga, I got to have one for every car, Jimmy. I'm telling you, it might sound like I'm doing a commercial, but I felt so lost because I knew, I just like to know who I'm looking at because a couple of the dudes for Manville I kind of like them, and I know everybody else might not like. And listen to me, I'm not saying I like them for Division I. That ain't. And Jimmy, I explained. You remember that day? As a parent came up to me, and I'm glad I get a chance to explain it. I told me and you was talking. I said, Jimmy, the difference in you and I, you look at high school basketball players and evaluated them. I look at players and try to evaluate whether or not they can be a professional or not because of what I do for a living, because I represent them. So I look at the world through a different eye. And the parents didn't understand that. He said, well, Robert, what did you mean by that? And then I explained it to them. They didn't know. So I guess we got to explain ourselves a lot on this show. But back to my commercial. Man, Jimmy, I'm telling you, I felt, listen, y'all, I'm serious, y'all. I felt naked without that magazine because I knew you had to have one. Oh, you got, oh, see, like right here. See, if it wasn't on my desk, it would have been in the car. But guess what? But Jimmy, I know. See, look. But Jimmy, I got to go to Manville, Jimmy. I got to go. Who from Manville that you just know off the top of your head, if you don't mind?
Well, one of the keys is definitely from Manville. You have a couple of them that are key.
Okay.
And one is the guard. What's the young man name? Mason McBride. His little brother's is playing over at North Carolina Asheville. Mason McBride is about 6'2". He's a guard, talented, a D1 prospect.
Got fuzzy head.
Light skin kid. Yeah.
Okay.
That's him. But and he's a solid player for them. And the other one is, of course, now remember the coach from what's his team? We had him on the Chop Shop about a year and a half ago. He used to be Josh Farmer's old coach.
They had all the young kids together, and then they all went and stole them.
They all left.
I like that coach. Yeah.
His son Zaire Hayes is the guard on that team.
I didn't know that.
Point guard on that team, and so that's those are just two of the. But Manville has a lot coming back next season, as you mentioned. Sean Walker, he's a junior. McBride is a junior. I want to say Hayes is. Let me
tell you who my boy, Jimmy. I got one for you. Miles Levine, little bitty thing. That's my boy. That's my dude.
I think that might be number 2. What number is he wearing?
Number 1. I think it might have been number 1.
Yeah,
number 1.
And so
anything, Jimmy.
This, and Manville. Remember that Manville coming off a stunning loss last week with 2 losses. One is in overtime, I think, to Hightower. Then they lost to Foster earlier in the week. So Manville has to find a way to get back to their winning ways. They're 4th place in district right now. Manville is 4-4 in that district. Shadow Creek is in 1st, Hightower 2nd. Of course, Foster with big Ruben Fothery. He's back off the football field, and they're 6-2. They're in 3rd, and of course, Manville is 4-4. Behind them, I think Terry, Willowridge, and Marshall are in 5th place. And Thurgood Marshall, I think that's, matter of fact, Manville lost to Thurgood Marshall. And
pretty bad too.
They didn't lose to Foster. They lost to Thurgood Marshall.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's big. Once again, these district standings are located on the front of our website. They're updated, accurate, as rcsports.com. You go to rcsports.com and you look at the top, it says district standings. Click on the tab and you can print the district standings 4A, 5A, and 6A for all of Greater Houston. That includes some Region 2 schools, but all of Region 3 schools. And once again, that's a good resource to have. It doesn't cost you a dime. That's a service that we provide to the community and provide to you guys for absolutely nothing. Otherwise, where are you going to get this from? You got to go, where are you going to get district standings already ready and pre-sized for a single sheet of paper to print out? You got it right there. Keep rolling. rcsports.com. That's why I tell you guys all the time, just pay attention.
That magazine ain't no joke, dude. That magazine, listen to me, man. Guess what? If I had this magazine, I would have understood everything that was going on last week. Because you mentioned a lot of the guys that I was looking at. I mean, I was impressed by him. Impressed by him. But Jimmy,
speaking of impressive, what I want to do, I'm going to look and see at the beginning of the season in the magazine, Hannah, on page 32. Page 32.
That's what I just looked at that.
I gave my predictions of what each team what place they would finish in district play.
You had Manville, what, 3?
I had Shadow Creek at first. And right now, Shadow Creek is in first.
Right.
I had Hightower in second, to come in second. Right now, Hightower's in second. I had Manville and Foster in third and fourth. I had Manville to come in third, Foster to come in fourth. Right now, they're reversed around, but you can see, and then fifth, I had Marshall, and sixth, I had Terry. So there you have it. Right there. You can go and chime it up. And you speaking of such, I had one coach out of this past weekend. Guess what he did? A head coach. I'm not gonna tell you what school. He called me and he texted me and say, I don't know what you're doing with them predictions that you put on the front of the website before the games, the point spreads that's not intended for gambling purposes at all. He says, but you picked us to win by 3. We won by 3 in overtime. I say, my response then was, you need to tell your kids to stop point shaving. That's what I say. But we got to go to the boom boom room, and there are some comments, there's some questions they have. RJ says he's surprised at how many high school parents politic to coaches about their kid. Is sickening.
And I asked him what he mean.
And because I want to clarify.
Yeah, clarify.
I don't have no problem with a parent politicking to a college coach.
Neither do I.
I encourage the parent to politic to the college coach. You know why? Because the quicker that you do, the quicker that you get a dose of reality. That means you will know if they're offering or recruiting your kid or not directly. You can feel it. It's just like having a phone number in your cell phone, in your address book. And you meet somebody and you give them your number. You can tell how interested they are based on how soon and how often they contact you personally in the wake of that meeting. That's how it is simple. But the thing is, and that's what I explained my teachable moment from earlier today. Summer coaches, third parties. That includes everybody, third parties. And we all are third parties if we're not the coach or the parent. Remember that. We all are third parties. Well, if you can start including the parent in all conversations or abreast of all conversations that you have with college coaches.
No, Jimmy, he talking about high school coach. Oh, you talking about the coach that he's playing? Hey, RT Chapman, you mean the coach that he's actually playing for? The parents try to jockey for position on the teams that the coach. What? I don't have a problem with players being friends with the high school coach either, Jimmy. What are parents supposed to be, mean to him?
You say you don't have a problem with them being politicking with the high school?
He's talking about high school. Archie Chap, he's not talking about college coaches. He's talking about high school parents politicking with high school coaches.
About the recruiting.
Just about talking to him, I guess, to get in favor with the high school coach that their son played for. That's part of life.
That's going to happen. Explain to them what you mean by it's part of life.
You better be cool with the coach. I just don't understand what he means politicking. I mean, I just don't understand. So you mean Greg Wise is my son's coach, and he with my son all of these days. He with him he at his school 8 hours a day, and then got him practicing. That means he's spending more time than my son than I am. You think I'm not going to have a relationship with him? Oh, heck yes, I am. And the teachers and everybody, think about this, y'all. By the time y'all get home from work, y'all son and y'all daughter, they ain't spending much time with you. They off doing other stuff. So they done spent all that time at school. They done spent more time at school than they spent with their parents. Remember, Jim, I used to say that's why I used to always sneak up. I used to go to Robert and take him lunch. In high school, he didn't let me do it no more. But when he was younger, oh, shit, I was at lunch every day. Because I realized those people with my son, 8 hours a day, he lived back and forth between me and his mom. He wasn't with me all the time. So guess what? I got to go see him. When do I see him? When do I have a chance to impart my imprint on him? So, no, I understand you said let your kid earn his way. Kids gonna earn their way. Maybe it's some coaches out there, R.T. Chapman, that listen to them parents. But most of them coaches, Jimmy, I talk to them. They have to listen to you. They're very nice to you. And I tell you, these high school coaches, Jimmy, are a lot better men than I do. Because some of these parents, everybody want a meeting. If I'm meeting with all of y'all, how the hell am I coach a kid? But politicking, I guess he means, Jimmy, you trying to talk to the coach to get your non-playing son in there. That's what I'm getting. But coach ain't going to play Lil Johnny if he can't play that good. Because if the coach going to lose. Jimmy, I've never understood. In RT, that's just something you need. Yeah, let your kid earn his way. But I don't, I mean, that's just me. I'm just a parent that never did that. So I don't understand parents going and saying, Coach, you got to play my son. Wait a minute. I got a question, Jim. You got to play my son. What I'm going to do? Take him off the team? If he ain't that good, what you going to threaten me with? RT? That's why I don't understand. You can't threaten. What recourse do the parent have? What thing can the parent hold over the coach's head to get their sons to play? I just don't understand. Jimmy, you reading it? He said nothing wrong with having mutual respect for the coach, but pushing for favors does not help the kid. Yeah, now I understand that. But Jimmy,
here's the deal.
Jimmy, address that.
Here's the deal. How do you know what favors are being pushed for if you're not in the conversation there?
I'm finna click myself off. Go on, talk, Jimmy. I'll be right back.
And that's the thing that I got to, a lot of people are in people's mix. How do you know? It's merely speculating. And that's the thing. See, it's funny as hell because you guys know better. You know it in life. In order to become class president up at your school, you have to do some politicking. In order to go, and there are some teachers that when you were in school, that you might have made an 89, that you had all of a sudden you want to bring a red apple to school, or bring some pie or some cake from home on a Monday to that teacher. That's politicking. You understand? That's that one principal or the guy. I remember back when I was in school, we had a security officer who watched the parking lot. Make sure nobody get their cars broken. That was his thing. Well, guess what we would do? When it was time for going, we supposed to make sure you couldn't leave the campus unless you had a permit, a work permit. Some kids would work half day. Go to school and work. They call it the deck or whatever it was. They would go to work. You had a permit, you go. You leave, get in your car, go. But if you had no permit, you couldn't leave. But there was certain athletes, we get, certain ones we got would go do. We know we go to Burger King, we bring them back a Whopper. That's politicking.
But Jimmy,
you can't be mad at the hustle
Jimmy,
if another person is trying.
Jimmy, get what RT said to you. Pay attention.
on which part?
He used your words again. She said, "Pay attention." Oh.
I mean, indeed, we all should pay attention, but understand. My thing was just explaining to people that the art of politicking, what we try to do when the politics aren't in our favor, we try to discredit as though politicking ain't good. You ain't supposed to do it. If your ass trying to get anything done, you try to go and politic. Go try to buy a car. Go try to get a new house. You politicking with the real estate agent on your points. You want to pay that 4%, 5%, whatever it is on closing, or you want to get it down to 1%. You're politicking. We politicking life. So what's happening is we're trying to create. I'm not against politicking. I'm not against the effort of politics. I'm totally not. I'm totally not. The thing is, for you guys that want to sit down and sit back and watch it go down, and if it puts you on a disadvantage for somebody else's politicking and you watching it happen, that you have to blame you. We have to blame you.
Boy, I love these parents. Hey, I love it. RT, that was a good one. I'm glad you brought it up because I never thought about it, RT. But Jimmy, I know you glossed over it. Somebody sent us a message saying you glossed over it. Jimmy didn't want to hear about that. But LeBron James walked out of that junk, man. LeBron James. Hey, you know what though? And y'all, the next time y'all look, y'all watch Randy. That's LeBron James, like businessman, right-hand man. Well, LeBron James be talking to Randy, and Randy don't never say nothing back. I mean, hey, Jimmy, LeBron James hold a conversation with this dude. This dude never says anything back. So if anybody go back and watch the game again, I see that all the time at games. LeBron James will say when he ain't playing or when he's somewhere at his son's game, he always talking to this guy, and the guy never say nothing back. Unless they got sign language or something. I don't know. But B. Scott, I know she be politicking. She probably be politicking. Yeah.
Well, it's not to understand. But I don't have a problem with anybody out there that's politicking. The thing is, every time you politic for something, you're not going to get what you want every time you politic. That's the thing. When you politic, understand.
It ain't going to go your way.
That's the thing. People have an unrealistic expectation of thinking just because you go and you bake a pie for the coach that your kid is supposed to play more. That don't mean he's going to play more. But though it doesn't hurt. That don't mean he's going to play less.
You baked it. Jimmy, can I end with the PGW? The PGW video?
Man, we end with the PGW before we get ready to land the plane. Want to give a shout out to the Baylor Bears. They're #1 in the country, y'all. The Baylor men's basketball folks. Baylor has jumped over Gonzaga, and they are #1. And guess what? The coach from Baylor, I reached out to him this morning, gave him congratulations, and this is what I learned. Baylor has no 5-star on their roster. These 5-star recruits, only 3 or 4 were 4-stars. Only 3 or 4 were 4-stars on this team. And they play 9 in their rotation every night, not 7 like some schools. They got a rotation of 9. They told me to tell you guys they tell me to tell you guys collectively. They say tell the chop shop to pay attention to that. And so I guess what? Baylor, talk your shit. I ain't mad at you. Hey, you #1 right now. Hey, talk it.
Jimmy, I thought they should be #1 last week.
And guess what? Hold on, Adam. Hold on. The U of H Cougars is number 25. They back in the top 25 for the 3rd straight season.
Are you happy now? Because you was whining. Oh, my. You was whining. Oh, my God. Dude, you was really, really whining about it. Look at
Go Cougs.
Go Cougs.
Go Cougs.
Hey, what TSU at, though, Jim?
TSU. I'm glad you asked about TSU. Yeah, I'm really am. Because I know Anthony Weston is on here, and last week he corrected me when about Alabama A&M. Well, TSU went on the road and beat Jackson State this weekend.
Okay.
Fairview went on the road and beat Grambling.
Okay.
Alabama State, I know Alabama A&M lost. Southern, I think, picked up a win. And the SWAC teams will be back in action tonight. And we want to give a shout out to TSU. former Bush High School star Bryson Etienne.
Yes.
Had a career high 27 points in the win of Jackson State. That is huge for this young man. And he, especially going the JUCO route and only playing like 6 or 7 minutes a week ago. This kid now is in the starting lineup, and the starting point guard that we had, Tariq Armstrong from Elkins High School, he came out the bench, played 17 minutes. Now we're waiting on Big John Marshall to come back. Think about it. These are all Houston players that's doing stuff for TSU. That's what you want.
Jim, I forgot, and I want somebody to ask me. I think Bob answered though. Jimmy, guess what my song is now? And I know I shouldn't be liking this song, but I like this song called Get the Gap. Jimmy, that little dance, I need somebody to show me how to do that little dance. Hold up, y'all. Them boys went to the White House and did the Jimmy, I got
until it's 13, get the gas, get the gas, get the gas. Until it's 17, until it's 17, get the gas, get the gas, get the gas. Until it big man, until it big man, get the gas, get the gas, get the gas, get the gas. Until it go time, until it's 13, get the gas, get the gas, get the gas. Until it's 17, until it's 17, get the gas, get the gas, get the gas. Until it big man, until it big man, get the gas, get the gas, get the gas, get the gas. Until it go time,
Hey, y'all. Hey, I had to do that, man. I had to do that. I thought that was cool as hell, Jimmy.
Hey, guys, I'm looking at the clock, and guess what? We definitely appreciate it.
Go.
Y'all, shout out to everybody, man. Make sure you share the show. Don't forget, tonight in NBA action, OKC is in the Houston playing against the Rockets. LA is in Boston tonight, and Indiana is at Utah. Those are the 3 games they headline the field.
No,
and then Swag Act is
Jimmy, it's MLK Day. It's a whole list of games all day. Look. It's a whole
I said the three that highlights the games today.
Okay.
Those highlight the
games.
Because
you didn't mention Memphis. Who got the
dude, Memphis is playing New Orleans. That don't highlight the card today.
That highlight my card.
I'm saying Wednesday, New Orleans highlight the card on Wednesday.
Who they play?
When old Sleepy come on and join the team, you see that boy falling asleep on the bench, man, 2-3 times already. Zion, I know you saw him.
Hey, man.
Falling asleep on the bench 2-3 times.
I'm gonna do to get the gap.
And hey, Swag night tonight. TSU is at Grambling. Prairie View at Jackson State tonight. Southern is at Mississippi Valley tonight. And Alcorn is at Arkansas Pine Bluff. Those are the games tonight. Alabama A&M has a bye. They need it after that whooping that got put on them on Saturday night. Anyway, guys, thanks so much for tuning into the Chop Shop. Once again, if you hadn't shared the show, please feel free to do so. Thanks. We'll get with you. See you on tomorrow. Time to slide down Dino's back and Yabba Dabba do this thing. We up out of here. Chop Shop.
We out. Let me get us out of here, Jimbo. Hold up. Where's that?
Jim Hicks, Rob Hatter, you are now tuned in to the Chop Shop. I'm Retro, let's get it. We in the Chop Shop, we live in the Chop Shop. We talking sports talk, we live in the Chop Shop. We in the Chop Shop.